Hey guys, Jacob here. In this video, I'm going to show you how I do my edge pieces on big cubes. So, I print the edges like this. These are what the raw, unprocessed edges look like. You may notice they're cut in half because when you put them together like that, it forms a whole edge. And they also have these square-shaped feet on the bottom of them. That was not a mistake. I meant for these to be here. The reason they're there is to help it adhere to the bed better, because in the past I've had problems with the thin part of it warping upward and them, not being perfectly flat on the bottom. So what you'll first want to do is take wire cutters and cut the feet off. And then for the other edge, and now that all of your feet are snapped off, you'll want to dispose of them. And the next step is to take a knife, one that isn't insanely sharp so as to cut you, and kind of very carefully shave away what's left of the feet. So you want to do that on this side. Now, I know I'm cutting toward myself. I don't advise doing that, but I do it because A, it's easier for me, and B, this blade is dull enough to where if it presses against my thumb, it's not really going to cut me, but it still does the job okay. But for any other knife, I recommend finding a way to cut away from you or put some kind of protection on your thumb, because I'm not responsible if anyone gets hurt trying this. Alright, now for the other one. And just one more. Okay, now these edges are ready to be joined together. So you may have noticed these have little holes on the bottom. They have two up here and then a really tiny hole down in the base. This is to keep them aligned at both ends. That way they're easier to put together. Instead of having to eyeball it and line it up as good as you can, it's like snapping Lego bricks together. So I actually use pieces of filament in these holes, and then a little tiny piece of a needle in this hole. Of course, the needle is because the filament's way too big to be used down here, but I need some kind of alignment thing down here. So I cut these pieces of filament to exact length using a tool I made that I've shown in a previous video. And these I cut using diagonal cutters. I highly recommend them for cutting needles. They work pretty well. And I might go over the exact measurements of them later, but they're not really important to this video, so I'm gonna exclude that. Next thing you want to do is you want to kind of do some work with these holes before you insert these. And the reason is because of the way these print. The bottom layer is not perfect, so the hole is a little bit smaller at the opening than it is all the way through. So we're going to take an X-Acto blade, and for these holes, we're just going to kind of open them up a little bit. So you're going to kind of scrape a circle. Once again, be very careful not to cut yourself. Alright, just like that, you're kind of creating a makeshift chamfer. And do that with the other edge. And of course, try not to press too hard or remove too much material. I kind of did a little bit right there. And for this, you will want a really sharp blade, preferably a brand new blade. So, next thing you want to do is, for these holes, the X-Acto blade is way too big to do that, so I actually made this. I call this my Hole Opener 5000. I just jammed a piece of needle into, or a few pieces of needle into this block of wood and labeled them based on their measurements. And I use this to open up the needle holes. So I have two right here that are the same size, but the reason there are two is this one is really sharp and this one is not as sharp. So this one first opens it and then this one kind of widens it a little bit. So the way you use it is find the hole, press it on top of the sharp needle all the way, and then take it off and do that with the other one. And then do that with the other edge. Alright. And now it is finally time to insert our alignment pegs. So we're going to use pliers to do that. We're going to grip them like that and then shove these into the holes. The filament is fairly easy to insert, but for some reason the needle is usually a bit more tricky. But there we go. Now we have made the male half of the edge. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get some super glue, put a tiny drop, a couple of tiny drops right here, and a couple of drops down here. And then push these together, make sure this is connecting properly, and press and hold it together for a few seconds. And once it's pressed, you'll want to wipe the excess glue off. And then, depending on your tolerances, you may or may not need to do some sanding, but for this particular cube, I am having to do some sanding, so I'm going to get my file this side, as well as the top of the foot. And just like that, you have a fully processed, ready to assemble edge piece for a big cube. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.